Good morning, students. Welcome back to biology class. So today's class is Bryophyta under plant kingdom. The second division is Bryophyta. So bryophytes are commonly found in terrestrial habitat, especially in a moist area, moist soil, damp place, shady areas in the hills. Okay, so they are found in moist or damp places and also shady places, moist or damp places. Because even though the plant is terrestrial, but it requires water media for reproduction. So terrestrial, no doubt, but they require movement of gametes. It requires aquatic media. So that these bryophytes are commonly found in moist area where a thin film of water is enough to swim that helps in the swimming of the gametes, especially male gametes, because female gamete is non-motile. Okay, so they are commonly called amphibians of plant kingdom. Amphibians of plant kingdom, very important. So name the amphibians of plant kingdom. Just you can write bryophytes. Why they are called amphibians of plant kingdom? Because they are terrestrial, but it requires, compulsory they required aquatic media for sexual reproduction. Hence they are called amphibians of plant kingdom. Okay. The plant is very small. The plant body is small. That is, the plant body is not differentiated into root, stem and leaf. So the plant is a thallus. The plant body is a thalloid. Thallus, no differentiation of root, stem and leaf. But in some higher forms of bryophyta, like mosses, they have root-like structure, not roots, not true roots, root-like structure, stem-like structure, that is axis, and leaf-like structures. But they are not true roots, not true stem, not true leaves, leaf-like, root-like, stem-like structure. Okay, the bryophytes, I told very small plant. So among these bryophytes, the tallest plants, Dawsonia, tallest plant is Dawsonia, about 50 centimeter in height. That is the tallest one, Dawsonia. At the same time, the smallest one, smallest plant in Bryophyta, Juipsis, that is about 5 millimeter in height. The 5 millimeter. That is why the plant body is very small. Even sometimes they are thalloid, dorsiventrally flattened. Some, they looks like a plant. They having a erect stem, that is axis, not a true stem, not true root, not a true leaf. Root-like, stem-like, leaf-like structures are present. Okay, this is about what the plant body. Then, bryophytes, the plant body is gametophyte. Plant body is Plant body is gametophyte, haploid gametophyte. Haploid gametophyte. dorsiventrally flattened. They are attached to substratum with help of the root-like structure. Actually, it is called what? Rhizoids. They have rhizoids, root-like structure. Okay. The plant body is gametophyte, haploid gametophyte. Okay. Then they do not have vascular tissues. Xylem and phloem are absent, so they are called non-vascular plant. They are called non-vascular plants where xylem and phloem are absent. Okay. Then so I told the plant body is very small or thalloid, they have root-like structure or stem-like structure or leaf-like structure. So plant body is a gametophyte. Plant body is a gametophyte which is haploid. They produce gametes. So gamete producing the plant is called gametophyte. This gametophyte having a sex organ as 6 organs. Male sex organ, male sex organ is antheridium. Male sex organ. Female sex organ, female sex organ is archegonium. Antheridium and archegonium are called sex organs. These sex organs are produced in the same thallus or maybe the different thallus. That means there may be homothallic or heterothallic. So in the homothallic, both the sex organs present in the same body, same thallus. Heterothallic, the male sex organs present in one thallus, one plant body, and the female sex organ present in another plant body. Whatever it may be, the homothallic or heterothallic, you must remember this sex organ, antheridium and archegonium are called sex organs. Antheridium is male sex organ, archegonium is female sex organ. Is it clear? Okay. This antheridium, male sex organ, they produce male gametes, motile male gametes, that is called anthrozoids. Anthrozoids. The female gamete, that is egg or oospore, that is present in the flask-like structure, which are jacketed. That is oospore or egg, it is the female gamete. Anthrozoids, motile male gamete. Egg is non-motile, female gamete, large. So this is a oogamous type of reproduction. Oogamous type. You know that the fusion between a small motile male gamete with a large non-motile female gamete is called oogamous type. Then antheridium produce male gamete, male sex cell, anthrozoid. The female gamete, that is egg or oospore, fused. That means fertilization takes place to form zygote. Zygote is formed. Zygote is diploid. This diploid zygote develops into sporophyte. Sporophyte is diploid. Gametophyte is haploid. This sporophyte produces spores by meiosis. They produce spores. Spores are haploid. These spores once again direct into gametophyte. So here in the life cycle they show alternation of generation. alternation of generation. Haploid gametophytic phase, they produce gametes, gametes are fused to form zygote, zygote develop into sporophyte. In the sporophyte, spores are produced, spore producing structures, spore producing phase. But one more important thing is gametophyte is dominant phase, long lived. Sporophyte is short lived. Moreover, the sporophyte depends on gametophyte for food and nourishment. Sporophyte is not an independent plant. Sporophyte depends on gametophyte. Is it clear? That is what the important feature that is in sexual reproduction, that is gametophytic phase is the first phase, dominant phase. They produce gametes, gametes are fused to form zygote, zygote is diploid, diploid zygote develop into sporophyte, sporophyte produce spores. That spore once again develop into gametophyte, alternation of generation. One more important thing is sporophyte is not independent plant, it depends on gametophyte. Clear? Okay. Then sporophyte also reproduce by asexual method. They also reproduce by asexual method, that is maybe fragmentation. Bryophytes reproduce asexual method, that is fragmentation. Very simple. The thallus is cut into number of fragments. Each fragment develops into new plant body. Okay. This is what the characters of bryophytes. The classic examples of bryophytes, that is Rixia. Examples: Rixia, Markensia, Polytrichum, Sphagnum, Funaria. These are all different examples of bryophyte. When come to the economic importance of bryophytes, in general there is no the more economic importance from bryophytes. But even though these bryophytes are food for herbaceous mammals, for some birds and some other animals. So bryophytes economic importance, that means uses a little economic importance. Little economic importance, that is it is food for herbaceous mammals, herbaceous mammals, even some birds and other for other animals. Some plant like some moss like sphagnum, they form a peat, common called peat moss. Peat is nothing but this is a accumulation of sphagnum that partially decomposed. That partially decomposed plant like sphagnum called peat, it is used as fuel for cooking purpose. Okay. Then bryophytes along with the lichens are the organism to colonize the rock that helps in that is called ecological succession, so that there are great impact or great use that is in ecological succession. Okay, that is ecological importance. Ecological importance. Okay. Then these moss or bryophytes form a mat like structure on the soil so that it prevents soil erosion. Prevent soil erosion. And also that increases soil fertility, helps in increase soil fertility. Along with the lichens, these bryophytes helps in decomposition of rocks so that that forms a substratum for development of higher plants. These are the economic importance or the uses of bryophytes. Okay? Then classification of bryophytes. Classification of bryophytes. Bryophytes are classified into three classes. Number one, Hepaticopsida. Hepaticopsida. That is example Markensia. And also Rixia. Then second one is Anthoceratopsida. Example, that is Anthoceros. Then third one is the advanced group of bryophytes, that is Bryopsida. Bryopsida, that is Funaria, Polytrichum, Sphagnum, etc. Okay, there are three classes: Hepaticopsida, Anthoceratopsida, Bryopsida. Okay, this Hepaticopsida, it is called, commonly it is called liverworts. Anthoceratopsida, they are commonly called hornworts. Bryopsida, the most advanced group of bryophytes, that is mosses. Okay. So for our first PUC NCERT syllabus, they include only Hepaticopsida and Bryopsida. So in NCERT textbook, they give the classification of bryophytes into two groups, two classes, that is commonly they can called as liverworts and mosses. Okay, this is about what classification. So in next class we are going to discuss about what are the characters of liverworts and what are the characters of mosses with the example. Okay, thank you, bye.